What's up guys, this is Sher talking, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'll be making a full review for Fake Gustave Romancing Festival banner that brings Fake Gustave a support that brings both offensive and defensive buffs, Ginny a specialist for remembrance, and Gustaf that is a counter unit with slash and heat damage. We're gonna start talking about Fake Gustave. He gives a name to the banner and is the best character of the three because he is someone that can be placed in the meta. We have good enough STR 117 and we have very similar values for endurance, agility, and intelligence. Yeah, all of them are on the 90s. Even his intelligence is on the 90s because he can actually debuff if he wants. But then the character just suffers from low love, but it doesn't make any difference. Moving on, we have Overlord's false name. Attack increases by 10%. When attacked, damage will be reduced by 10% as well. On the start of a turn, for 5 turns, up to turn 5, you grant all surviving allies a heat up medium that will increase their damage potential by 10% for the whole fight, all of them including himself. Then he will get this defense up that will increase the defense of the character by 5% and including himself as well. So that's interesting. Well, we have characters like, for example, Def and now the newest Final Impress that already gives defense, but they give on the start. Well, Def gives 30% defense and you have 25 with Final Impress. Those are very good values. 5 times 5%, it's not 25 because it's multiplicative, but it's higher than 20. But it takes time to build up. But as a counter, he will deal recoil damage to one surviving ally by 30% off the HP. I don't think he hurts himself, doesn't make much sense, but I haven't seen him on JP. And after those 5 turns, he stops. That's right, because all the effects will be gone as well. Now, the second Resolve of the Might starts the fight with 11 BP and gets extra 2 on the end of turn, making 5. Then we have Black Anima that attack damage increases by 15%. On odd turns, on start of battle, he grants himself a heat up of medium effect. That will get up to 50%. Then on even turns, he grants himself a defense up, decreasing damage taken by 10%, stacks 5 times, but here we will have the whole kit only by turn 10. That's right. But it's good because he is just getting stronger and stronger. For bosses that have multiple HP gouges, he will take very low damage as the time goes, especially because he already has good enough endurance and will. So, a character that will make your party better by giving defense up and heat ups to the party as well, much similar to what we got with the latest version of Impress besides the current one. The final Impress was just giving 5% heat ups up to 10 turns. That was way too long, so I didn't like it. Now he's faster and he also works passively. With all that said, I have to say that he's a little better than past Impress. Moving on, we have the skill number 1 called Shadow Cross that has the power to BP cost slash and shadow, so he can actually be used on slowing squads to get 50% extra damage and also 1 BP recover when attacking that will try to debuff both agility and intelligence by 15% on max level. Those values are very nice when you are attacking mages or bosses that uses spells because those are used into accuracy. Not that we are going to evade all the time because it's super hard to evade on the current game, but 2 debuffs on 2 BP, it's actually pretty good. The second one, Dark Drive, it's a 7 BP double S power attack that hits a row of foes with slash and shadow. And before he attacks, all other surviving allies besides himself will lose 30% of their max HP. But this is a skill that you use only on farming scenarios, so doesn't matter if you are hurting your friends, if you are killing the enemies, it's just okay. You can also use this skill 3 times in a row for perfect farming for both story and event. Since it has double elements, it's also pretty applicable in many events. Then the third one, Curse Impact. That's a single target attack with slash and shadow again, and when the attack lands, it grants morale down medium to a single target. So if you are facing just one boss, this is nice. That decreases the damage they perform by 25%, and you also apply guard down that decreases their defenses by 25% too. So there's one interesting aspect. It lasts for 3 turns. Most morale downs will last only 2 turns, but we also have that on Medea. Medea is also a debuffer, but she will debuff much more because she relies on RNG and has multi-chases. And she has access to that Bloom Blossom Whirlwind. 3 turns, morale down medium, column attack. So, in this case, they are pretty similar, but Medea has Colo instead of just a single target. Not that it matters much if you're just fighting versus one boss. But the thing is, you can't just use this on turn 1, then you can use Shadow Cross 2 times, then go back to Curse Impact even without Sudwing in your squad. So, it's a perfect cycle to decrease the damage, try to decrease it further via debuff, and keep up with your defense ups and hit ups to the party to make it better. So, the character is pretty simple, it's just that. When you have more than 20% damage reduction via defense ups and another 25% damage reduction via morale down, and increasing the damage of your party via hit ups and guard down, the character does have a good kit that works. It's just that we got this guy just too close to the latest Final Impress that already decreases damage taken by 25. She has that evasion shield. She also has defensive boost or morale down via inheritance. And we just got Def as well. Def has a special gimmick because Def can revive you and decreases damage by 30% and then another 25. I have to say that this guy here is inferior to these two styles. Not by much, I have to say, but you don't need all of them. If you just want to skip Fake Gustave, it's okay. He would deserve a triple S grade in the tier list just because he's still a little slow to perform what he offers, much like the past Final Impress, but better. But not enough to guarantee an OP grade in the tier list. But if you like the character, you can pull for him, it works. There's one bad thing about Fake Gustave though, that he does not have any future style on JP so far. That means that once he falls out of the meta, we don't know when he's going to get a chance again. The next character is Ginny, and she's a hybrid, but not as good as Fake Gustave. You see, just average STR, low endurance, just okay will, and, well, okay agility and intelligence. A high charisma, I don't know why. Moving on, we have cool instructions too, that increases damage for all allies by 10%, then increases 10% if they use clubs, and reduces damage taken for all allies by 10%. Doesn't matter the weapons they carry. Then we have Offense Union 3, when all allies are still surviving, increases damage by 15%. Then Outstanding Talent, she starts the turn with Morale Up and Guard Up Small casted. Guard Up Small is just minus 12%, while Morale Up Small increases damage by 15%, but she would not be able to stack with other sources of Morale Up or Guard Up. She works super bad with Gustave in Let's Paint, for example. But she gets 3BP. This is a passive that we saw before in Goddess. Very, very old. For skills, we have Sucker Strike Plus. This is a free attack with Depowered that just deals blunt damage and has a chance to debuff STR by 15%. I don't think her intelligence is even good enough to start the game. Man, just 85. It will not land in any boss fights. The second one, Fierce Strike, is a full AoE attack that instead will buff all surviving allies STR by up to 25% on max level. 6 BP cost and C power means that she can actually cast this many times in a row to perform as a buffer, but damage is not great. It's just to increase STR of older people and for members as well. The third one, Flailing Spin Full Swing. It's a single target attack that is also fast. It can only be used 2 times per battle. Has triple S power and it will give Elemental Enhanced Blunt to increase the damage potential of all surviving allies by 15%, or blunt damage. This is actually okay, I guess, for 10 BP only. You are just doing damage and also buffing the potential of your other units, but as you can see, limited to Remembrance. But after she uses this, what is she going to do to a boss? If there's just one boss in Remembrance, she can only use this 2 times. You have to get inheritances. And there are some, but I don't think they are too good. We can just get Nutcracker Plus, that becomes triple S and can debuff Endurance by up to 40%. There is a version that debuffs Will, if she actually can land that or not. She can inherit Time and Tide to work on Zigafray. She also has other options for debuffs, like Weak Intelligence debuff. She has this Mountain Splitter that will be useful in the next Remembrance fight versus Golden Lion. She can inherit those 2 skills here that are actually good. Slapping Fan Smash and Gobi Skull Splitter that debuff STR or Intelligence by 30%. So you can inherit any. Since she has 5 BP, she can cycle this every 2 turns. And from the latest version, she has that Charm attack with triple S power. And, well, she has very high charisma. She's going to land those. And she also has a Recover Rio spell that will revive if needed, and then cast a region for 3 turns. But, I don't know, maybe we already have way too much support for clubs. So in the end, I don't think there's too much to say about this character. If you don't have inheritances, she's becoming super extremely limited. She would just do nuke 2 times and then become a buffer. It's a very, very simple design of a character that really needed something else. It's even weaker than the past style in my opinion, and I'll only give you an SS- grade in the tier list. And this is the last version of Ginny so far. In JP there's nothing else, but she's a popular character that will eventually get something, but well, none of the skills here are just important to summon for the character. The last character is Gustaf, and he's a counter unit. You can see by having very high endurance, very good will as well. 120% STR is more than enough to do damage. Agility is not that great, but he acts passively anyway, and won't get so easily inflicted with ailments. For passives, we have 2 famous words. On start of a turn, he casts Taunt. Medium effect lasts for 4 turns. It stacks. It will increase the chance of being attacked by quite a lot. In the new formation, Rising King, he's gonna work super well. He also gets recover by the start of a turn, so that if he's taking indirect damage, he can recover. When being directly attacked, he counters and reduces the damage taken with Dual Cutting Lunge. This is an attack that we saw before. Dual Cutting Lunge is a 8-power STR based attack with slash and hit damage that buffs his own STR by 30%. That's right, even on rank 1. So the more he counters, the stronger he gets, and it's a guaranteed counter, much like Global X Bertrand. The second passive, Practice of the Might, he starts the fight with 12 BP, and then when he lands an attack, he gets another BP. So he gets at least 4, because when he attacks he gets 1, and when he counters he gets more, so he can actually stack depending on the fight, but it relies on having too many direct attacks. The last one is Latent Bloom Defense, increases damage potential by 20%, it's his only damage passive, and he gets defense ups of medium effect 5 times per battle, to decrease damage taken by around 40%. Skill number 1 is called Defensive Flame Slash. It's a single target attack with slash and hit damage with just E power that recovers HP by around 230, and he casts Guard Up Small that decreases damage taken by 12%, lasts for 2 turns, and it will be used as a mid-cycle skill. Not really important, but almost free. The second skill, Airing Steel Wave, is a full AoE attack with just slash this time, that has B power and 8 BP cost, and it will grant all surviving allies defensive stance for spells that decreases spell damage by 35% and lasts for 2 turns. Well, this is actually pretty okay. Some bosses will just cast spells, especially like Siegfried, and you can keep this cycle together with his Guard Up. So he will be even better defensively while he helps the party reduce damage taken. But we already have the tank version of Gustave that deals the same thing, and he adds Screw Guard. Well, look, we have Screw Guard and we have Steel Dominance. That gives the same effect for 2 turns, and he can keep a perfect cycle as well. Now, there is also the latest attack, Brave Duality. That is a single target attack with slash and heat that will grant the user a defensive stance for both skills and spells. This time it will be very large, so it will decrease the damage taken by 50%. A skill will only be either skill or spell, so it will never stack. The good thing is that it lasts for 3 turns. Depending on the number of counters he gets, he can use Brave Duality and have something left to do something else. But there's a problem with the design of this character that I have to say right from the start. He is a counter for direct attacks. Okay, his attack is an 8-power attack that stacks. Okay, 8 power only is not that high, right? But it's a guarantee, that's good. But then we already have, for example, Global X Bertrand. Like I said, Bertrand is another counter, but the good thing about him is that he counters with an S power attack that even grants attack and defense boost. So it's not just offensive, it's also defensive. That helps him survive, much better than Gustaf. And one interesting thing is that you can also heal with Bertrand. Why a Gustaf? Well, this guy here has a problem. If you want to use the defensive stance spell, well, what's happening? Are you getting hit with direct or indirect spell attacks? He's trying to be 2 things on the same time, or maybe they just wanted to build 2 characters in one. But in the end, he's not good for any, because he already loses as a defensive stancer for spell to Screw Guard Gustave, and already loses as a counter unit to Bertrand. And even other units for slash, like the latest Goddess, that is not even that great. So there's some problem with his design in my opinion. As for inheritance, he only has premium styles. From the first one, he can use Dual Cutting Lunge as command, That will buff his STR by 40%, but only after he attacks. There is also Flaming Steel Wave from his second style, that is a 2-hit attack that opens with AoE and then has dual cutting lunge again. So you will use 11 and get back 5. He can use this every 2 turns on average. And from his summer style, you can inherit Sunder, that will now be amplified into a skill that even buffs before attacking. And you can also inherit Burning Knight, that is a very strong attack with Slashing Heat that can be used in the end as an overdrive attack. There's that, but I don't think that this Gustaf has a very good design. He tries to be 2 things and he's not really great in any. It's much like what you get with the Shira, that works, but we have better tanks and better counters, and we'll get even better ones in the future. So I do believe that he works. Because of that, I'll be giving him SS plus grade, because even then his defense stance is good and his counter attack is good. It works, but he's a very disposable character that no one actually needs. But if you like the character, this is also the latest style so far on JP. Now back to the banner image. Is this banner worth summoning for? No, in my opinion it's not. I'll give this a bronze award because of Fake Gustave being good. But this banner here, you only have a chance of getting 1 very good character and then 2 ones that are average or just bad. So if you already got the latest support characters like Def, like Valdor or Empress, or at least 2 of them, you are pretty set. We're gonna get Nawal's daughter that can be used as a support defensive character as well. You only need 2 in a fight usually, so you can wait for the character in a rerun if you really like it. So my opinion is skip if you are a new player or a veteran. With all that said, this is my opinion. What is yours? Please say here on the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I hope to see you soon in the next video or live stream. Bye.